Hi, folks. Grego here with another snack food quickie. Now, this one right here is something very special. This is something that I find to be highly interesting because it goes back to the origin and directions of this channel itself. Originally, this channel was supposed to be a 1 year series of interviews of people in arts and performing arts. And it did delve off deeply into Doctor Who with actors, directors, writers, and what have you. And that interview series ran for several years. It was really fun to do. And ultimately, there was a conclusion where there is a shared trait to be found of all of the nearly 100 people that were interviewed. And that has not been revealed yet, but it will soon. Now, delving off into different directions, this channel has also hosted a large amount of videos about what it's like to live in Japan, since our family lives in Japan once per year, yet primarily we live in California. And the videos of just average life in Japan did get a lot of attention and appreciation and likes, and that is wonderful. Yet, something that a few friends of mine have suggested has been, why not focus on things in California? Things that are interesting in the primary area of the world in which I live. And that's a really good point. And I think that focusing on videos of life in Japan is something very interesting to me because we have a limited amount of time there. Yet I do realize California can be an interesting place as well. Yet to me, it's not as fascinating because I'm from here and I live here, if that makes any sense. Now, lately I've been doing food tasting videos. These were inspired by Tasty Cake, who goes by Reverend Amagon. There's a link to his channel below. I started watching his channel due to his simplistic food tasting videos. And I started thinking, wow, maybe I should do some food tasting videos myself. So I got to be friends with him, which is wonderful. He started a new channel called Spill the Geek Tea, which focuses on all things geek, all areas of fandom, and it also includes foodies. Now, here's something that I want to review today, which I've never tasted in my life, and it has a huge story behind it. And for references, I'm going to go to the San Francisco Chronicle. And if you want to learn a history of a local cheese right here in the San Francisco Bay Area, well, technically from the Central Valley, from Modesto, I'm going to go through this article with you. And thank you to the writers of the San Francisco Chronicle. There will be a link to this article below. Let's jump into this cheese as I delve into something very special regionally, food wise, about this part of the world that I live in, California. From the San Francisco Chronicle. This is from last summer, 2024. This rare cheese with a cult following vanished from the Bay Area, and now it's making a comeback. For long years, one of the Bay Area's most in-demand and unusual cheeses was nowhere to be found. Fans called a Rainbow Grocery Cooperative in San Francisco, and they left their phone numbers with instructions to call as soon as it was back. And yes, my cat needed inside. They searched for substitutes, but nothing was the same. Desperate customers and distributors pestered the cheesemaker, Franklin Peluso, almost daily and got an unsatisfying answer. He just doesn't make it anymore. Now, what's interesting about that is that they actually have a website. I went and looked at it, and it is, for a lack of better words, their website is unmaintained. Okay. It's a very simple website that doesn't look like it's been updated for many years, so I'm not going to bother linking to it. It did have a link to a video, which it now says that the video is unavailable. So as far as online contacts, this company is very obscure. So let's go back to the San Francisco Chronicle article. Peluso, 78, and his son, Adam Peluso, quietly started making Telume cheese again. Word spread through a cheese whisper network about the return of the California cult classic, which was first reported by former Chronicle cheese columnist Janet Fletcher. Okay. Talk about dramatic words spreading through a cheese whisper network. I would love to be in a cheese whisper network. Where can I find that? It's one of the most unique cheeses made in the country, and it's made right here in our own backyard, said Rainbow Grocery cheesemonger Gordon Edgar, who's been eating Franklin's Telume since the 1990s. Yes, that's how this cheese is pronounced. It's called Telume. It's a cheese that's really worthy of attention. Telume is a cow's milk cheese with the oozing, luscious texture of brie and a trademark tangy flavor that deepens and shapeshifts as it ages. Instead of forming a rind, it's dusted lightly with rice flour, an Italian tradition that prevents the whey from leaking out, but it doesn't get gummy. And as it ages, the consistency turns delightfully runny. Serve it at room temperature in a bowl, or else it will leak everywhere. Telume is incredibly versatile. It can anchor a cheese plate with meat and fruit, or be folded into polenta or dolloped onto a pizza. One cheese expert described Franklin's Telume as supernaturally light and fudgy. Another called it the cheese personality of the West. Okay, so there we go. We are focusing on a very local cheese, as people have suggested that I do. And thank you for the suggestions. Now, finishing up on this article, before I taste this, again from the San Francisco Chronicle, link below. The Peluso family has been making Telume for nearly a century. There is no written recipe, just muscle memory and instructions 3 generations of fathers have given to their sons. Today, Peluso and his son produce a couple thousand pounds a month completely by hand in Modesto. He said there are only 2 people in the world that know how to make this recipe. Now, for people that don't know where Modesto is, it's in the California Central Valley, which is approximately 90 miles east of San Francisco and about 90 miles south of Sacramento, the California state capital. It's very rich in agriculture. Telume's origins are unknown, but its history in California stretches back to the 1920s, when a Greek family started making it at their Pleasanton cheese factory. According to local lore, they were trying to make a feta, but ended up with a creamier cheese. Around the same time, Peluso's grandfather, Giovanni, learned how to make Telume at a dairy factory run by Italian immigrants in Los Banos. in Merced County. The Greek-influenced cheese had caught hold in the Bay Area's Italian community, so they decided to tweak the recipe and make it more like a soft, creamy style cheese. Peluso made the first batch of this new Telume in 1927, according to the Slow Food Foundation for Biodiversity. 11-pound wheels of Telume became staples in the Italian delis of San Francisco's North Beach neighborhood. Telume was a staple of the famed cheese cart at Michelin-starred restaurant Gary Danko in San Francisco a decade ago, and general manager Cole Mathers. As of 2 weeks ago, it is again roaming the dining room in the cart. The Slow Food Foundation for Biodiversity added Peluso's Telume to its Arc of Taste, which tracks high-quality, small-scale products across the world to draw attention to the risk that they might disappear within a few generations. Peluso's Mid-Coast Cheese Company is the only remaining producer of traditional Telume, according to the organization. As a high-quality product that reflects the immigrant history of the San Francisco Bay Area, traditional Telume is a vital counter to mass-produced industrial cheeses, and it is worthy of protection, the foundation says. 2 decades ago, Peluso moved to Maine and sold the Peluso Cheese Company. The new owners continued to make the cheese, but fans said that it wasn't the same. It's unclear whether Peluso Cheese still produces Telume. The company did not return the phone calls from the San Francisco Chronicle, and emails bounced as it's no longer an active website. And this right here is consistent with what I learned looking at their website. It appears as if it has basically been abandoned. Peluso, for his part, made Telume on the East Coast before returning to California. Then in 2018, he lost his production space. His Telume disappeared. San Francisco native Al Baldocci grew up on bacala, salt cod, and polenta, and Telume. Decades later, he thought often of the cheese's intoxicating texture and flavor, the secrets to which the Pelusas guard closely. He was among the people who called Peluso when it was unavailable, asking when they might make it again. And, of course, Edgar of Rainbow Grocery was similarly dismayed. He had grown attached to the cheese, folding it into omelets and arugula, or sneaking snacks from the wheel during lunch breaks at Rainbow Grocery. It's rich and buttery like a brie, but it's also fresh and milky and sour like a fresh cheese, he said. The rice flour on the rind gives the rind a unique, chewy texture. And finally, getting to the end of this really, really long, in-depth article in the San Francisco Chronicle, when Rainbow Grocery finally had Telume in stock again late last year, people purchased entire 6-pound wheels, Edgar said. One person flew cross-country with a wheel to give it to a friend for the holidays. Rainbow keeps a backstock of Franklin's Telume, Edgar said, but many stores run out quickly due to the limited production. Peluso said that they hope to increase production and debut a truffle-flavored Telume soon. He may also revive a washed rind Telume from years ago. Adam Peluso, who first learned to make the cheese a decade ago, said that his dream is to open his own factory devoted to making even more Telume. Whew! Okay, what a story. So, for those of you that have suggested that I focus on something local right here in California. And I love cheese. I don't know how I could get more local than something like this, because this right here is a piece of Telume from Modesto, and you can see the rice dusted rind here. It's very moist. In fact, it is stuck to this cutting board. It is very moist. And now I'm going to taste it. Let's see. A rare storied California Bay Area / Central Valley cheese that is the subject of such an in-depth and beautiful story. And it is really, it is really, really sticky. There, I got a piece off. All right. I've never tasted this in my life. And after the story, I'm kind of scared. I hope I'm not let down, but I don't think so. Franklin's famous California Telume cheese. The nose is absolutely cow milk forward. This is exactly the same as opening a cap of a gallon of milk. It is milk forward. Let's go for it. Fresh mozzarella comes to mind. The rice dusted rind, or outside, I guess it's not a rind, does add to the texture. This would be wonderful melted on a pizza. If there was a pizza that used only Telume cheese, that would be just as historic as this cheese. Okay, the flavors are quite complex. Let me get another piece here. The texture of this is very similar to fresh mozzarella. Let me grab this one. Wow, it is so sticky. So sticky. Moist. All right. Let me try this whole piece right here. And let me focus on the complexity of this. This is unlike any cheese that I've ever tasted. I would say this is one of the closest cheeses to go from milk directly to cheese as there is. It's very similar to a curd. And I'm getting hints of pecans, tree nuts, and oddly, I'm getting citrus notes of lemon and Japanese yuzu fruit. It's a very complex cheese, which I believe will change with aging. Now, In preparation for this video, this has been laying out on this cutting board for approximately an hour. It's still pretty cold. It has not come all the way down to room temperature. And this piece here has a lot of the rice on the outside. So let me give this a third taste. Hmm. There is one flavor there that I cannot describe. I think that the best word that I could use would be classy. There's something there. There's something there that comes through, uh, almost as if cherished classical music to the ear, uh, with classy on the palate. And I would love to cook with this. Speaking of which, this is $31 a pound. It is available at Molly Stone's in Sausalito. If you take the Golden Gate Bridge north, turn right and go downhill into Sausalito, Molly Stone's is one of the only places that you can actually park in Sausalito. They have a big, huge parking lot. Shh, that's a secret. You can park at Molly Stone's in Sausalito. Go in and buy something. It's one of the only places that you can leave your car in the entire town, because there are typically about 10 times as many cars of what there are parking spaces in Sausalito. But this San Francisco Chronicle article from last year also provides a list of all of the stores in this area that you can purchase this cheese, and I will link to that below. And thank you to the reporters from San Francisco Chronicle. I've given you due credit here. Good job. You found a really nice one, and I hope that people watching this channel that have suggested that I try something local and special will be pleased to see this, because I'm enthralled. I am absolutely very happy to have found a local cheese that is this special. Talk about a wonderful story. And it really is a wonderful cheese. As far as rating it, I would give it a 10/10, no problem. But considering the fact that there's nothing else to compare this to, there's really no reason to rate it, because there isn't any comparison. This is an extremely unique California cheese from Modesto, the Central Valley of California. And I'm really happy to see that it is available in the Bay Area. And yes, I absolutely will buy it again. And in fact, I would love to make a pizza with this. Absolutely wonderful. California Telume cheese. If you ever have the opportunity to try this, absolutely do, because it is and has to be one of the finest cheeses on the face of the planet from right here in California. And until next time, peace out from California. Bye, guys. Let me try that again. Where is that red button? Oh, right there.